Hey bike farmers, thanks for clicking in. I've gotten a lot of comments over the years. Why don't you ever fix bikes with disc brakes? And the basic simple reason is they just haven't been coming through the shop yet. I pretty much only deal with kind of lower end bikes in my shop. That's just what the used bike market is around here. But I just picked up a load from my local bike co-op and 3 out of the 9 bikes have disc brakes on them. And this is one of them. So it's about time we get into it. This rear one, that's not good. Every time you hear that pop, 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 that's just one of the little cooling holes or whatever rubbing up against the brake pad. So this one's already way off. This one is really good and I can see it. The rotor's super bent and it's not rubbing, but it will be. And there's like a ton of cable pull here. So both of these are way off and need work. So I'm gonna do my best to get the camera angles to show you what's up with that. The last couple bikes I've done have had cantilever brakes and I've really struggled with them. And I've said things like, you know what? I think disc brakes are easier than these. And it might be true. These are really cheap, entry-level disc brakes, which is not a bad thing. Sometimes the cheaper ones are easier to adjust than the fancy ones. Yeah, otherwise it's a really straightforward bike. It's got a very loose headset, probably bought for a kid and then just never ridden and then donated to the bike charity and I grabbed it. We still have to go through everything and just make sure everything's good before I can resell it. So you just kick back and relax and I am going to get started. Okay, I'm gonna do my best to get some camera angles to tell this story, but right there you can see there's a little bit more gap on the brake pad on this side than on this side. All right, so see if I can get it to focus. Right there you can see it. You can see the light through, okay? Those are the clearances we're talking about. It's really not a lot of room for adjustment to get them so they don't make noise. And then back here, you can't really see what's going on, but you know, you can kind of see a little bit of a gap right there. But it doesn't really tell you the story. So I'm gonna do my best. But per the usual, let's pop the wheels off and start kind of cleaning things and lubing things, and we'll just kind of do the tune-up-y stuff and then start taking a closer look at the brakes. So I like to click everything down and get it in little and little. If you pull the derailleur like that, it loosens things up and you can just boop, boop, get that all flippity floppity. Same principle applies to the front derailleur. Push it out and that gets the cable enough slack that you can get front derailleur cable out of the happy homes too. All right. So these clips are kind of useless. They just pop out in a lot of cases. It's nice because it's kind of like a quick release thing, but I think zip ties work much better in the long run. So this is a charity bike and I'm seeing evidence of lubrication. I think a volunteer mechanic may have touched this one recently. So like I said, it's going to be an easy tune-up. But we can still make lots of improvements to it. This bottle cage is pretty hideous. There's really nothing silver on this bike. A few bits here and there. I guess there's some red here. I think these Elite water bottle cages are pretty nice, aren't they? I don't know. I don't know much. So most disc brakes have cable housing running all the way from the brake back to the lever, both in the front and the rear, which makes it really tough to lube these cables. So we're gonna loosen both. Little Behold furniture polish. Any furniture polish will work, but Behold is the cheapest stuff at my grocery store. Just get the cheap stuff. Just give her a good wiping. Hey bike farmers, just a quick note while there's a lull in the action. If you've made it this far, I assume you liked the video enough to click the like button. If you really like it, let us know in the comments below. And if you're into bicycle content for regular people, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you're able to support more directly, click on the super thanks button and send me some taco money. Or better yet, join the channel as a monthly sustaining member. All of these things will help grow the channel organically and give the Bike Farmer YouTube channel a strong future. Thanks again for watching. Now let's get back to the bikes. All right, now that everything's polished, gonna lube some cables. Okay, so like I was saying, it can be tricky. I could pull this cable all the way out, and it's been clamped and it's not so bad. I don't know. This cable feels pretty good. This bike is pretty unridden, but we'll just kind of let gravity do its thing here. Like yow. Okay. Here's a front derailleur cable. Just lubing the whole thing, why not? Rear derailleur cable. What do you call them? Derailleur cables or shift cables? Shift cable makes more sense, I guess. Might as well happy home them right now. Slicker than snot on a doorknob. Okay, here we are up in the truthing stand, taking a closer look at things here. This is the same rag I used to polish the frame. It's got a little bit of dampness to it, and this wheel is pretty much just dusty, so I can it's like a tack cloth once the rag gets damp like that. You can just go through and stick my finger back in there and clean up that hub. Try to get at the spokes behind the rotor. It's never a good idea to touch the rotor with anything that's damp, but I just did. So don't do that. What's the truth? The truth is, I don't like disc brakes because I'm a hack. Right? That's what all the professional mechanics out there in the comments like to say. I got a comment just 2 hours ago on my last video when I was talking about disc brakes, and I could read it to you verbatim, but basically it was like, you know, hydraulic disc brakes, you know, as long as they're bled properly and set up properly, there is no adjustment because they're self-adjusting. And yeah, theoretically, you're absolutely 1000% correct. The frame has to be perfectly straight. The posts, or the mounts on the frame, what am I thinking of, need to be perfectly faced. The rotors need to be perfectly straight. Did I already say that? This is a quick release hub, so that has to be perfectly adjusted because it'll drift one way or the other, depending on how tight your quick release are. Like, you should never have disc brakes on a quick release bike. It's just a bad idea, but all these low end bikes have them because people think disc brakes are better, and they're not necessarily. There's a lot of variables involved, and you can see that you only have like 0.5 millimeter clearance. It's just everything has to be just exactly perfect in order for it to work well and not rub, and you know. And honestly, like, I don't care if it's just rubbing a little bit. Mechanically, like, you know, it's not like it's a fraction of a watt difference, but it's noisy and not perfect, and customers notice. And so from my standpoint on the service side, I don't like dealing with it because it's way more finicky. And just one little bump, you know, one little snafu. Oh, dropped a wrench. One tiny little imperfection in the natural way of things, and somebody thinks there's something wrong with their bike, and then I got to deal with it. And then I end up being responsible for it because I just charged them, you know, $100 for a tune-up and said everything was adjusted and perfect. And they get home and they're like, no, it wasn't. And it was like they bumped it in the car, you know. So those are all the reasons I'm not that into it. So let's take a look at this here rotor. See if I can get a new camera angle for you here. That. Oh, that's actually pretty good. Meaning this thing. So this thing is never tight. Let's tighten it. Yeah, there's a little Allen screw on there, and it's imperial. It's not metric, it's like the only thing. Okay, so there, you can hear it's rubbing up against the speed holes. All right, where is straight? Straight is right in here. Okay, so there's an anomaly. I'm going to bring that down. So we find our spot, take our tool, and give her a little tweaking. Definitely made an improvement. Okay, so there's a spot that way, just a little bit. There's a spot that way, just a little bit. Oh. And that's really good. You know, at some point you gotta leave well enough alone. It's nice that there's a smooth spot. Can we get rid of that? It's kind of like a wavy spot, isn't it? Leaving it. That's good enough. Definitely improved, okay? So that's straight. We know it's straight, right? We measured it. It is absolutely 1000% foolproof, totally straight. Now you may have picked up on my sarcasm there, or I don't know if it was sarcasm, my facetiousness, because I'm still skeptical. I have trued them in the stand and put them on the bike, and there's all kinds of rubbing and wubbing and dubbing, and I can't explain it. But I just have very little faith in anything disc brake. You know, if you have brand new stuff and it's higher end and a good frame and whatever, you're pretty safe. It's better. But on these practical bikes, you know, the quality control is there. Nobody really cares. They're not taken care of. They're not as durable. They're not as robust. It's just not a good idea, in my opinion. I think I'm still of that opinion. Now, there's nothing there's hardly anything in this life I like more than having my mind changed. I love discovering new things, having new arguments presented to me, and saying, oh my God, I never really realized it was that way, you know? I rarely stick my heels in. You know, I get a lot of questions in the comments, like, you know, what's your stance on that? And I'm like, I don't have a stance. I have today's opinion, you know, but I don't take a stand. I don't care if I'm right or wrong. I just want to know the truth, guys. You know, that's pretty much the problem with society now, is everybody wants their side to be right. And they, you know, we're so tribal. Stop it. I don't judge you if you have disc brakes. You know, I just have my own opinions, and they're independent of you. Don't take it personally. You know, don't project your insecurities onto my disc brakes. You know what I'm talking about, really. I love that for you. I love your disc brakes for you. That's great. I love that you're so confident in your life. And you have just all that stopping power. I wish you'd shut up about it. Okay. I don't know how these things work. Dial indicator. Very fancy tool for a guy like me. All right, here we go. Going in. Used to work with a guy named Wiener Stick. A good mechanic, great mechanic. Very knowledgeable, talented guy. And when I came back to the bike shop in 2014, after being gone for like 10 years and everything was disc brakes, I just remember him saying once that he could get a rotor just about perfectly true using the brake pads on just about any bike. You know, like he had just gotten good at it. And it's not that ridiculous. You don't need a dial gauge. You can just do it in the bike. Yeah, his nickname is Wiener Stick. And one day, we're all in the shop in the back, and this woman comes back and is like, is Chris around? We all kind of looked at each other like, I don't know any Chris's. She kind of goes, is Wiener Stick around? I'm his mom. That's an old skateboarding nickname that just stuck with him. I like to call him Sticky Buns. That's probably one of the best nicknames I've ever come up with, and it totally never stuck. Stuck. Okay, well, the good news is it went right back to where it was. And it's gonna require some finesse, some adjusting, some demonstration for y'all. It will be good content. Yes, sirree. That's what we do here. Bike Farmer Headquarters. We provide the world with good content. Oh, good. Okay, so I just took this wheel off and put it back on, and now it's rubbing. Remember, it wasn't rubbing, and now it is. And I have it, you know, this is about, so with quick releases, I want them just starting to push back, you know, like finger tight, you know, when it's sticking about straight out, about 90 degrees, right? So, I mean, that's a good, well-adjusted quick release. Let's make sure on this one it's the same thing. Yep, exact same tightness. Setting the preload. Okay. All right, we're gonna zip tie this wire back. Now, if I was smart, I would not tighten these yet. I am smart. I thought of it. Okay, we're just gonna wrestle with this process for the next 24 hours. Oh shit. God damn it. See? Oh. Told you I was gonna wrestle with the process. I have old eyes. The problem is you don't want to wrap the zip tie around the cables, and I did it on that other one. Okay, so I took my time on this one, was really paying attention and avoided the mistake. I am a mistaker. Not only do I like to have my mind changed, but I'm okay with admitting mistakes. I'm open to it. I was listening to a podcast yesterday of there's a leaked memo, and pretty sure it was leaked on purpose. That's the general consensus out there, of Mr. Beast to his team. Once his organization got too big for him to have one-on-one interaction with everybody on his team, he was like, I'm just gonna write it all down in one concise document. Everybody needs to learn this. If you're not on board with it, we're gonna find a new place for you to work. All right, just pretty straightforward stuff. But one of the points was, and I think this came kind of from Steve Jobs, a lot of it, I guess, came from Steve Jobs, was that he wanted people on his team that were mistakers, basically. You know, he'd rather have people doing things and making mistakes and knowing about it and correcting them right away. Like, that's where the innovation happens. So, you know, basically like really promoting creativity and just getting after it and trying stuff. And as an entrepreneur that has to hire people for help to help me, myself, one thing that I've always said is I want someone with the confidence to make their own decisions and the responsibility to correct their own mistakes. So many people are afraid of making mistakes or getting it wrong. But like, you know, the mistake that I made, and you know, it's like it's hard to get a zip tie around here where it doesn't pinch the cables. You know, it's just tricky for the mechanic, but I just made that mistake, right? I was like, oh, you know, if I were able to let the engineer know or whatever, it's like put this bracket or this mount up a little bit and it makes it easier to deal with the cables then. Of course, these were designed for those other stupid whatever holders that pop out all the time, but still, you know, that's where innovation comes from. You know, if I didn't fail so miserably at my first marriage, I wouldn't be so good at my second one. All right, so let's get after it a little bit here. So my favorite tool is probably the 5mm T-handle for all of this. So I'm looking straight down here and I can see that this disc is rubbing against the inner pad. I'm also able to see that the caliper isn't really centered, right? Meaning the disc isn't going directly in the middle of this gap. So we're gonna need to adjust it. Okay, so you loosen those two guys and now it's all flippity floppity all over the place, right? And there is no adjustability, I don't know, pitch, yaw, whatever. Now sometimes it's easiest just to look from straight down, and if you put something white on the floor, that helps you see it. Oh yeah, it sure does. And I wish I could show you this, but I really can't. I've tried off camera to show you. Okay. So there's two ways to do this. There's only two ways to do this. So this is a little locking screw that holds that pad in place. I'm gonna loosen that up. I'm just gonna leave that right there. Okay. So one thing that I like to do is, I just happen to know on this particular bike, you do have an adjustable pad. So that's great, right? So what we're gonna do is come in with our T-handle from the other side. I'm gonna turn this pad in like a half a turn. Okay. And then knowing that this is about the right tension, I'm gonna use the barrel adjuster and I'm gonna tighten this pad in. Okay. Then I'm looking straight down. I'm gonna turn this in a little bit. I'm gonna turn this. Okay. Now I'm gonna go up to the lever. I'm gonna squeeze the lever. And I'm holding the pads together, right? Theoretically, this is holding the disc, the rotor, right in between the pads, right in the middle of the caliper. Everything's centered. Now this works really good with hydraulic brakes. This is pretty much the only way to adjust them, is you just hold the lever down. I don't squeeze it super tight, but pretty tight, okay? And I just made these bolts. Not super tight, but pretty tight. Okay. Then we're gonna loosen this cable, and then we're gonna back this out, and we're gonna spin it. And it is rubbing like a psalm gome. Okay, so now I'm looking. And it looks like things are just askew. And we are in it. We are in the weeds. So I can eyeball it now and see what's going on. And that was just askew. All right. Now it's rubbing on that side. So the first method did not work. So now I'm creating enough of a gap that I can see what's going on. And it's still rubbing. Maybe it's the... Oh, it's like... Take a look at my dork disc. She's the only one that rubs. I'm gonna get my razor blade down here and cut that off. And now we don't have any noises. All right. We learn as we go. Okay. You know, there's just a little bit of plastic hanging out there for no good reason. Rubbing up against the freewheel. It's fixed. Hey, you're getting a good demonstration. It's still good content. Whew. That is steamy. Okay, so I'm gonna tighten this cable until we hear it rubbing. rubbing. Okay, so that's enough where I can probably pull a little cable through here. Like, yeah, buddy. Ooh, it feels good. It's got a little bit of a rub though. Okay, I think this pad is perfectly fine. So I'm gonna crank down upon it, lock her into place. And this I need to let like a little bit of cable out. But not much. Come on, there we go. Just a wee bit, just a tad, a smidge, a smooch, a skosh. Oh, it's rubbing like a banshee. You saw how true we had it in the stand. Oh, now it's not rubbing like a banshee anymore. Now remember, the pads are gonna wear. Okay, and even though I have this locked in place, there's still some adjustability. Okay, that's not rubbing and feels pretty tight. Okay, now it's rubbing. I'm gonna back off on that. Yeah, I mean, I could futz with it some more, but I'm just asking for trouble. But watch, when you tighten these down, a lot of times you'll introduce a variable. Things will drift a little bit and you'll get rubbing. Squeeze it a couple times. It's quiet. What happens if we tighten it just a smidge? It's just slightly better. It's really good. Okay, it's adjusted. I hope that made sense. Okay, front brake. I'm gonna loosen the fixed pad. I'm gonna unfix it. Okay, we're gonna hook our cable back up. And I'm gonna turn the pad, the fixed pad in. So now it's totally locked. Still totally locked. Oh, drop my wrench. We're gonna loosen this pad. I gotta get it centered in the caliper, is what I'm going for here. Okay, it's pretty centered. Really hard to see what's going on. But since it's pretty centered, we're gonna just loosen the heck out of this thing. Get all the heck is gone. Okay, so if that's all the way loose, all right, this has to move. Here we go. I don't think these were moved from the factory. I don't think this brake has ever been adjusted. You know, like even at assembly. All right, this feels very centered to me. I'm gonna kind of turn it as I snug these down, but not like crank them down. Okay, and that should center my caliper, my caliper, my caliper. Back that off. Spin, it's silent. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so that time the method worked pretty good. I can see I got a ton of gap on the fixed side. Now, it's the fixed pad, but it is adjustable, which is nice. I wish that hydraulic brakes were adjustable from both sides. It seems like it would be really easy to do, but I don't have my brain wrapped around hydraulic disc brakes and how they actually work. Hydraulic systems have eluded my understanding of things. I'd have to like see a breakdown, watch a video, something. Well, I tell you what, I mean, it feels really good. Hear it? Just turn it in a little bit until it stops making noise. It's very good. Yeah, you know, that is good enough for who it's for. So these brakes are Bengal, is what it says on them, which sounds about as generic as Acme. You know, these would be the brakes that the Roadrunner would use to trick the coyote. Send him flying off a cliff to certain death. Cheap brakes, they work great. Don't drop my wrench. And it's good that I did because I forgot this guy. Hot dog. I'm gonna hit the chain with some Finish Line One Step cleaner and degreaser. No, cleaner and lubricant. Then I'm gonna take a pretty filthy rag and wipe off the excess. And you can wipe it the other way. There you go, clean chain. And this is my tacky cleaner rag. Good for wiping down bicycle components like derailleurs. Wiping as we go, wiping as we go. It wants to overshift. I'm gonna turn that barrel adjuster in, and I'm gonna use the one on the shifter too. Okay, they're both in all the way now. Okay, so if you hold it, I'm gonna grab up a little bit more, but if you hold it and then grab the cable somewhere, you can do some stretching and kind of pre-stretch things. Yeah, see now it was too loose. So we just pre-stretch that cable. Turn that back. There we go. Check the low gear, check the high gear, it's rubbing a little bit. I'm gonna do some pre-stretching on that cable too. Now it's really rubbing. Okay, I just used the barrel adjuster up on the lever to pull some of the slack out of that cable. Very nice. One step. Squirt a little lube up that kickstand's butt. And then we'll get this 14 millimeter on there. And, oh man, was that loose. They're always loose. I'm taking that one step and rubbing it into the finish on this crank, and it's just shining like Beyonce's diamonds. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. So it's been flopping around the whole time. You can tell that the headset's loose because of the way that it is. You can just hear it. You spin the front wheel and then slam on the brake, you can hear it. Okay? Luckily, all three of these bolts that you need to adjust the headset are 5 millimeter. So we'll go 1, 2, okay? So this loosens the clamp. You know, the stem is the clamp that holds everything together. And then this will squish everything together. Now it's not flopping around anymore. It's like a quarter turn, half a turn. I'm actually backing it off a little bit. Feels a little tight. And then, much like the brakes, sometimes when you tighten these bolts down, it changes the position of things. So yeah, just kind of go a little bit at a time and check it. That's way more better, hey. This is gonna be a really fantastic bicycle for some kid in town, you know, who wants to try out mountain biking. He's got disc brakes and a shock. Go bomb around, see if he likes mountain bike club. You know, and if he does, he can go buy a race bike next year. Doesn't say Trek on the side of it, so everybody's gonna make fun of him, but sure beats paying Trek prices when you don't even know if you're gonna like it. A little tougher to sell these because they don't say Trek on the side of them, but it ain't a whole lot different than a Trek Marlin 5 or whatever their entry-level Trek is. Pretty much the same thing. Well, the new ones all are 1x now, which is pretty nice. Make them firm, go for a bike ride, but if you gotta know, that was about 60 pounds. Which is quite a bit. You know, it's on the higher end of things. Come on. Which is on the higher end of things for these tires. But this could sit for a while in my showroom, and I just want there to be air in the tires for that test ride, so I don't have to mess around with it. This saddle seems to be at a goofy angle too, so we'll tweak that. Get these water bottle screws back in. Shine bright like a diamond. Shine bright like a diamond. Oh, hey, everybody wondering about my coffee situation? Well, I'm back on it. Not really though. I paid attention to the comments and I went good 2 weeks, almost 3 of effort. You know, it was quite a bit of time with 0 caffeine. I went through all the withdrawals, I felt detoxed, and then I wasn't feeling like I had much energy. And people said that might happen, and that, you know, if I just limit it to like a cup of coffee in the morning, that I'll feel fantastic. And that's what I've been doing, and it is absolutely true. The key to it is don't drink too much too often. Yesterday I did make an espresso in the afternoon. No, I didn't. I skipped it. Day before I did, because I was up late the night before. But I'm not doing 2.5, sometimes 3 cups of coffee in the morning, and then crashing, you know, a couple hours later during second breakfast, and then, you know, maybe even having another cup just to make it through lunch, and then a nap, and then caffeine after that, and then sometimes even caffeine at night. Like, I'm not just like riding the roller coaster anymore. So, and that was the goal. I feel way better for it. And I know a lot of people like, suggested switching to like black tea or something like that. Well, I mean, maybe I should, maybe I could. But I have found, I got a 1 cup pour over thing for like 20 bucks on Amazon. I got the nice one. I always buy the nice one because I like to have nice things. We have a really cool little tea kettle with a good pour over spout. So I've been taking my time and making a really good cup in the morning and just making it count and taking time to sit down and drink it. And I should just like read or something. I have, you know, or flip through a New Yorker magazine, read an article. We get the New Yorker and don't read it, just like everybody else, you know? If I'm gonna be an intellectual, I should probably be reading the New Yorker. You know, short stories, fiction, that kind of stuff. All right, this is a beautiful bicycle. I really like it, you know, Bucky Badger colors. It says KHS USA on it. Somebody's gonna think that's tariff proof, which it is. It's a used bike. I put 0 parts on it. This is completely tariff proof. That should be my title. Tariff proof bicycle. Used. Brand new condition. Amazing. What a way to make a living, I tell you what. And this YouTube channel sure is helping me out. And that is because you watch until the end. And I am grateful for it. I appreciate you very much for watching. It's the most gratifying thing I've got in my life. I mean, of course, family and I don't know, all of the other things. The fact that I've pretty much realized my dreams, all those things are pretty gratifying too. But you made it happen. So thank you for watching. If you love this content and want to see more, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't. If you've got a little extra money in your account and don't mind sharing it, you can click a super thanks and send me $25. There's a number for you to hit. You know, I like anything above 5. 5 is good. 25 is the real deal. That gets me excited. Like instead of just a thanks, hey, I'll give you a whoa boy, hey howdy, or something like that. But you know, I buy tacos with that periodically. I don't get as many tacos lately. I'm trying to lose a little weight, trying to get a whole bunch of miles coming up. You'll see videos. It's gonna be a lot of ride videos coming up. Join the channel as a monthly sustaining member. If you don't want to give every single time you watch a video, just become a member of the channel. That's like going to Patreon for everybody that was ahead of me by 10 years in the game. They all went to Patreon to supplement their income. You can do it right here in YouTube now by joining as a membership. And that's a sustaining, you know, a few $100 a month that I can count on for income. Makes it worth it. Keeps the wheels moving. I tell you what, just like these 2 wheels right here. Now for yourself, what you gotta do is click that notification bell so you and your bikes can stay tuned.